Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Big Idea. The U.S. mission to ASEAN started this show because we know that there are so many leaders in Southeast Asia who not only have had big ideas, but they've turned those big ideas into a reality. And they inspire all of us. They definitely inspire me. I'm your host, Jason Seymour, the spokesperson for our mission, and we have a very special guest today. We were chatting before the show and chatting. We have lots of things to say. Ariq is just an amazing person, so let's bring in Ariq.
Hi, everybody, hi.
Yep. So Ariq, you have a very special background, and for people who have not visited Malaysia, they might not know what's behind you. So first, if you could explain what's behind you.
So on your right is called, it's in Putrajaya. The building is called Wisma Putra. On your left is Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. So Wisma Putra on your right is actually a State Department. It's like a State Department over in U.S. So it actually resembles all the activities, all the bilateral activities over in the building. So yeah.
That's excellent. All right, well, someday I'll be able to visit and you'll show me.
Sure, why not?
So Ariq, you're doing lots of amazing things in Malaysia. But first, I want to talk to you more generally because you're doing a lot of things to help what you describe in your bio as urban poor communities. So I'm just wondering, what was your background? Did you grow up in a low-income neighborhood? Were you more advantaged as a child? What's your background?
So actually, I was raised in Kuala Lumpur. So over that time, I was quite little. See, I was exposed to a lot of community work. I was quite active when I was ever since high school, actually. So I visited I was growing up in the area where you can see there's a lot of urban poor communities. Like they say, you know, people are living by their own means. So sometimes when I was little, I feel really sad and look at how they are very underdeveloped in a way. So that's why that what precedes me to actually open a non-profit organization. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when you were an adolescent, when you were a teenager, you were walking around and you were seeing people who were struggling, who had challenges, and it hit your heart.
Yes, correct. So I feel that's why I developed my own non-profit called Persatuan Kebajikan dan Pendidikan Kuala Lumpur. So this non-profit organization actually focused on community building. The non-profit organization actually focused on the urban poor communities in Kuala Lumpur. You know, we provide them in education and skill support. We actually branch out into two different programs, such as ProTap, where we teach and mentor children from age 5 to 12 years old by improving them with level of literacy in English and mathematics, solving problem. So our another program called Bimbing. Bimbing is actually a skill training focused on single parents, especially single mothers actually. So when we break into two different, so the program break into two different modes actually. So the first mode actually we teach if parents, single parents would like to learn how to cook, we have a kitchen preparation class, and as well we also have a sewing class if some parents prefer to sew and they have the skill to do so. So by the end of the program, we will actually place them in a job matching with other company actually. So we'll place them according to their skill set that they have.
So you do a lot with your organization. You don't only provide education and training, you also help the individuals participating in your program to find a job so that the person can use those skills. Because it's those two pieces, because sometimes job hunting is difficult. Have you received a good response from companies? Do you contact them and they're interested in hiring the people you're training, or is that very challenging?
Well, actually, especially during this COVID time, is really challenging. Some companies, some smaller companies actually decided to lay off some of their employees, which makes it difficult for us to job match. So yeah, that is pretty hard, especially during COVID. But before COVID, it was pretty easy. It's just that sometimes we just need to match with the right person at the right time, you know, the right company. Sometimes they may short in staff, so we need to be always on alert with the industry, what they, who need what at the moment. So yeah, that very much it.
There have been a lot of struggles, a lot of economies struggling in the United States and Southeast Asia, around the world. And that's why organizations like yours are very helpful to people. And we'll get back there. The economy will improve. This is a period of time. Will we get past this moment? Definitely. Yeah. So I'm wondering, what do you think? So sometimes you'll have a family that doesn't have a lot of education, that has a lot of financial struggles. And sometimes some of the children will grow from that experience and they'll be able to escape that poverty. And they'll be able to, there's something in them where they will take advantage of educational opportunities. And then some of the children do not thrive, do not succeed, do not escape that poverty. What do you think makes the difference? And I ask this question for other leaders such as yourself. Like, how do you motivate people to make a change for their own lives?
Well, that is it's a good question.
That's a question. That's a tough question. Yeah,
it is a tough question.
We all wonder what the answer is, what the best answer is.
Right. So from my experience is actually, it's like this. When they face difficulty from themselves, if they find hardship, sometimes is, when sometimes, when let's say if I my skill classes, for example, right, and they find that, maybe it's better to join, participate in my skill classes so that they will have more skill set for them to get more jobs. So this actually sort of motivates them in a way to see that, that's, example, my friend is attending Ariq's class, so maybe I should join. Maybe I can improve my life. So from there, actually, at first, some of them are very skeptical in to join. They will say that, hey, why do I want to join Ariq's program where, it's not like a guarantee, sometimes. So for me, it's little bit like that. They will see other people, when other people succeed, then only they feel that they are motivated to change their life. So yeah, that's one of it, is to see others succeed. Then they feel succeed. Then they want to succeed, actually.
I think that's an excellent point. Role models are so important. If you see someone else who maybe has a similar background, but has succeeded, has managed to develop skills, get a job, have a better life, that is tremendously motivational. I definitely hear you. I just want to pause for a second and tell our audience that if you miss any of the information, Ariq's a great organization, we're going to put more information in the description below, so you will have a way to contact Ariq and get more details. And I also want to say to our audience, we're open to your questions. Please, if you have a question, write it in the comments below and I will share it with Ariq. So speaking of role models, is there anyone, any American or anyone you met maybe in the United States who you admire or who perhaps is a role model for you?
Well, Jason, if you asked me 3 years ago, it would be really difficult to answer. So in 2019, I went for the fellowship program and I was placed with this organization called New Moms. From there, I know that this kind person called Ellen Thompson. So she actually founded a nonprofit called New Moms. Okay, so she started her nonprofit when she began to distribute her milk formulas and diapers for single mothers living in Chicago. So in West Chicago, particularly. So that actually makes me feel that she is an awesome person because she finds the grit and audacity to work with cause that she feel that as a single mother herself, she enables to do that. So I hope that one day I can be like her, her grit and her focus. That is I really admire the most actually. So yeah.
It's amazing. So Ariq, for the audience, Ariq went on a Weiseli Professional Fellowship, which is a very exciting program. And we'll put some more information about that in the description below. For how long were you able to be in the United States on that program?
So I was there for almost 4 weeks, yeah, for a month. Yeah, almost a month, yeah.
Great exposure. And you were in Chicago. What did you think of Chicago?
Oh, Chicago is, I feel, it's quite interesting. You see different people, it's really modern city, I can say. And yeah, and I feel it's like similar to New York, but I've never been to New York, but I think the atmosphere is pretty similar with New York. It's very busy and like everyone is going somewhere, So yeah, that's what I like about Chicago.
And you said that you're very passionate about helping single parents,
Right.
particularly single mothers.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that single mothers face in Malaysia?
Well, in Malaysia, mostly the discrimination is one thing. People tend to find them, they are incompetent to work because some majority in Malaysia, I wouldn't say majority lah, but sometimes people think that single mothers are, are from a trouble background, so they do feel a bit discrimination for some employers. So I think we should actually remove that discrimination feeling towards single mothers particularly, because they too have the necessary skill set and background to work. So yeah, so that is one thing.
And what happens in Malaysia to the fathers? Are the fathers required to help, or are they able to just abandon their children? What happens there if because the fathers should, stand up and help those children that they've helped to produce. They're part of the formula there.
Yeah. Well, some are really responsible, but sometimes, the unfortunate family, they some fathers, I can say, they are incarcerated. Some, they have some family issues. So that is that is a challenging part actually. Sometimes the mothers doesn't receive any support from family. That is why I find that it's important for my program to be able to be as a support group, like a support group for my participant actually. So the mothers over in my program will share their stories, will share, like their daily activities. So yeah, so a little bit like that actually motivates them in a way.
So we have a couple questions from the audience.
Sure.
So one question comes from Sue, and she wants to know, are people in Malaysia involved in helping lower class communities in Malaysia? In other words, is your group unusual, or are there a number of nonprofits such as yourself that are trying to help people in need, people with challenges?
Well, definitely there are many nonprofit group in Malaysia are helping the lower income families actually. But mine is mostly focused on skill training in a way. But yeah, for sure there are many non-profit group help in other forms, such as providing groceries, weekly groceries, shelter and stuff. Yeah.
Now, I know we were talking before that when the pandemic hit, you had to change some of your focus. So tell us some of the things that some of the activities in which you started to engage after the pandemic to help people.
So actually, during lockdown last year in 2020, a lockdown, we had a lockdown for about three months. So what we did is we actually, my participants actually from the sewing class actually decided to sew PPE gown, protective equipment gown. So this protective PPE gown actually will supply to the hospital. So my volunteers work day and night to sew this PPE gown under restriction order. So it's hard for even for my volunteers to go to the workshop to sew in the PPE gowns. So that was one thing that we did. So we managed to supply for over 10 hospitals in Malaysia. By the generous donors who actually supply us the PPE gown material, which is very hard to get during, especially during pandemic time. So So besides that, actually right now we are working with hospitals as well to help setting up COVID-19 volunteer group to help the frontliners, the hospital workers, to arrange the phone numbers for us to contact for vaccination actually. So that is what we're looking for.
Now, the silver lining in the pandemic, because it's been so awful for everyone, but the silver lining has been to see so many people in so many groups, people like you saying, how can we help? What can we do? I mean, that has really been the beautiful. I mean, so many people around the world have just helped out, done what they can, offered their resources, their expertise. We did get a lovely message from Alika 13, who said, proud to be Malaysian. So I'm not Malaysian, but I am proud of you and all the work you're doing. Now, we did get another question from Tanya, who's asking, could you tell us some of your strategic habits that help you to reach your goals?
Okay, when as a leader, community leader, what I always do is before I approach when I want to create a program, for example, a smaller program besides my two other programs, like a temporary program, I can say, I actually think strategically on how can I execute a program with a lot of factors. First of all, when doing any community projects, you definitely need to think of the beneficiary receiving your program, your help from the program. Secondly, you have to think financially. Is your program sustainable? Can you work with the program in, let's say you do weekly, like a weekly program? Is your programs, you can do it weekly. So financially and also planning on the beneficiary is very important when you want to do a community project in a way. So yes.
If people in Malaysia wanted to help you and your specific group, would you have opportunities for them to volunteer and help out your group?
Sure. We currently looking for volunteers to help us out with the COVID-19 placement, vaccination placement. So yes, you can visit us at our Facebook for more information about that. Yeah.
I recommend people do so, but if you're not in Malaysia and you're not able to volunteer, but you want to hear how Ariq has developed this organization, done all this volunteer work, and you would like more tips that we can get to in our short amount of time. He is always, you can see, he has a big smile, he's a friendly guy. He would love to chat with you and give you tips. So you could also reach out to him for that purpose as well. Yeah.
Sure, why not?
What are some of the biggest challenges that you have faced trying to keep this organization, this volunteer group going? Tips that you could give to another organization that is struggling to succeed?
Okay, like I said, when doing a community project, yes, it's true. Sometimes we do have a cause that we want to work on, but actually it comes back to the financial part actually. Sometimes, yes, I myself as a young person back then, I was quite eager to do a project, but sadly sometimes the resources, the funding will be a bit tricky. So what I actually advise is for new upcoming non-profit is make sure you have a clear cause that you want to work on. Make sure that your cause is quite can be heard by the communities. Secondly, invest on like what I always do is I actually do Facebook ads on my Facebook to promote my cause, to promote any fundraising activities, so that you'll be financially sustainable. So those things you have to take into consideration. First, about financial. Second is how you want to execute your community, your project. For example, you should think of how many volunteers you need. What sort of things you want to benefit the beneficiaries. For example, is the supplies or whatever you want to make things more smoothly. Second, documentation is really important. You should track down your activities, make it as structured as possible, because sometimes as a non-profit, this is what my experience, right? I know a lot of community leaders out there, they tend to not document their activities, which sometimes is quite difficult for them to track afterwards. Yeah, that's one thing. And one more thing, make sure when you want to do a community project around the community that you want to do, make sure you engage with the community leaders. I mean, like say the head of the community. Make sure you engage with them, talk to them. Is your project is your project okay with the community? Make sure you talk to them. You just don't execute straight away. Yeah.
This is the exact reason that I wanted to have this show, to help people get tips like these and understand that it's really, really useful if you seek a mentor, someone who has developed an organization such as the one that you have developed, because it's great to have a big idea. It's great to have a cause and a passion, but it's hard work to take it from just the idea stage and actually make an impact. And you brought up really good tips about documentation, planning, budgeting. All these things have to be done, and they're not easy to do. So that's why we have the Weiseli network that we've created, the mission, and other tools so that people can find mentors such as yourself. Yeah, definitely. So thank you for that. Now, I know we only have a couple minutes left because unfortunately, Ariq is a busy guy and he has things to do, but I do want to ask you a couple fun questions at the end. So if in 2022, you could return to the United States and you could visit any city, where would you pick to visit?
Okay, only one? Okay, plenty, all right.
I'll let you say two.
Okay, sure. First, I want to visit New Hampshire. I want to go to Cape Cod, actually. Bike riding, over at Cape Cod. And I want to go back to Chicago. It's I've not actually discovered the whole city because there's a lot of things to go to Chicago. Yeah.
What time of the year would you recommend people go to Chicago? Because it gets cold in December.
Actually, I recommend to go somewhere between spring and summer. I think that would be a great time, because that day when I went, there's snow during spring, like a heavy snow.
It can be very cold in Chicago. Beautiful city, but it can be cold. And if I get the pleasure of visiting Malaysia, where should I visit?
Well, I will actually to visit Penang, actually, Penang and Malacca, because there's a lot of historical sites that I think that you should visit. Because you can see there's like a lot of diversity around the area. So yeah, definitely Malacca and Penang.
Okay, all right. When I visit, I'm going to be writing you for more tourist tips. What is special food in Malaysia that I should try?
Okay, there's plenty to choose from, but I would say nasi lemak and satay. Those two are a must.
Nasi lemak? What is nasi lemak?
Nasi lemak is coconut rice, rice infused with coconut milk, and you eat with sambal and boiled egg. So yeah, it's really interesting.
You had me at coconut. Anything with coconut, I'll go for it. I love
coconut. Okay.
All right. And when you're having a stressful day, what is your guilty pleasure? What food do you eat that when you're having a bad day? Something that picks you up, makes you smile.
A lot. Okay, I will have nasi lemak, and I will have prata or roti canai. We call it in Malaysia prata bread. It's a flat bread that we eat. Yeah, those two is a must, definitely a must. Yeah.
Okay, and one more question. Do you have an American movie that you really like?
Oh, I don't watch movies. I prefer to watch like series, because I find that movies is, you know, take about a long time to watch to finish one. So I prefer to watch Netflix. Yeah.
Okay, what's a TV show that you really like? An American TV show?
Okay. um, Breaking Bad. Actually, I'm sort of following that actually at the moment. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Very popular series.
It is. It is.
All right, well, we're just about closing up. And what is something that you would like Americans to know about Malaysia or Southeast Asia that they might not know?
Well, aside for beautiful places and nice people, Asia has a lot of things to offer actually, in terms of the diversity actually. People here, you know, are very helpful at times, and are always there to help. So yes, that is one thing I would say that.
That is one of my favorite aspects of Southeast Asia. You have so many different religions, cultures, peoples. It's a fascinating place to explore. And you are one of the many fascinating Southeast Asians that I have had the pleasure of meeting in my short time here, arriving in Southeast Asia. And I look forward to one day traveling to Malaysia and getting to meet you in person and seeing all the work that you do. So unfortunately, we're going to have to close the show, wrap it up now. But as I mentioned before, we'll put information about Ariq's organization in the description, ways that you can learn more about what he's doing. And if you need more tips, need more advice, Ariq would be happy to talk to you. He has a lot of experience, as you can tell, and a lot of insights to share. So thank you so much, Ariq, for joining the show.
Thank you for
And
having
I
me.
really do look forward to meeting you in person, and I hope soon.
Thank you so much.
All right. All right, audience, until the next time, take care. Thank you.